What's maybe 2, 3, or 4 steps on how you guys would repeat the same results that you got today? Get to that 6-figure level, maybe in 6 to 7 months.
Definitely start
What would
with
you guys
ads.
do with the knowledge you have now?
Facebook ads, and for us, actually Instagram ads too. So we are going to be in Europe next year.
All right, yeah, we're good. We're rolling and everything. Let's do this. But yeah, Ashley and Peter, welcome to episode 4 of WLMA Weddings and Wine. And I'll be honest, when I first met you guys and we talked on Zoom, I didn't think you guys were gonna end up working with us. I was like, oh, they're probably not gonna come back. But I believe you guys ended up talking to Aiden or something, and you guys ended up joining. And lately, it's been really cool seeing your journey. Not far into the course, I remember you guys reached out to me. You know, you're already hitting like $25,000 months. It's only like, 7 months in the year. You guys are already at 6 figures in your wedding photography and filmmaking business, which is incredible. We still got like 4 months to go.
So, yeah, we reached our goal,
But,
and I was like, yo, there's like half a year left still. So
Exactly. The sky's the limit. So, curious. I'm curious as well. Tell me a little bit about the both of your stories. How did you guys get into the wedding business? What did your, business used to look like compared to where it is now, and what was that journey like?
So we started doing photos for as a hobby, like 4 or 5 years ago for friends and family, and we both had a full-time job and everything. And as time progressed, we got better and better. And during COVID, we decided to go full-time. So that was last July.
Yeah.
And we quit our full-time jobs.
Both of us.
I had a company with my dad, studying law and something called notary in Quebec here in Montreal. And we both decided to just go full-time and to specialize into weddings because we love working with people and couples and just seeing, it's a happy experience, you know, so the vibe is really nice.
That's awesome. Risky doing that all during, the COVID lockdowns and everything as well.
I was very skeptical about doing that. I was like, yeah, right. We're gonna push crazy numbers during COVID, especially. So, but it turned out for the better, and I can't complain.
That's awesome. Now, before even diving into weddings, were you guys experimenting with a lot of different things in video and business? What did that look like?
We were doing a lot of everything. We were doing maternity, family, even real estate, corporate, all kinds, really everything.
Jack of-
And then when we joined the program, actually, I think that we heard about more like finding niche, and decided that our niche would be weddings, because we still do other sessions because we like I really love doing maternity sessions. He does real estate sometimes, me, not my thing, but the main thing we do is weddings. Yeah. And actually, ever since, because we were posting all kinds of things on our page, we actually have a lot less inquiries for maternity sessions, and it's mostly inquiries for weddings that we get, which is what
And even through those kind of sessions, like maternity or any other kind of sessions, we mentioned that, we specialize in weddings, and we also get referrals like that. So we just connect people.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm curious, especially figuring out what this journey, maybe the struggles you guys went through as well. When you guys first started, what did you guys feel like you guys were struggling in the most that are different now, especially kind of getting to this level? So
we were struggling with basically getting leads, how to price our packages too. So pricing, leads, and a lot of it.
Even like our editing style, finding our consistent edit, like that was something we
struggled with a lot. And we still, sometimes we go like, should we change our style, or should we? It's always a work in progress, but we're pretty happy where we are right now.
So now, especially from where you guys were to where you guys are at now, what do you feel like were the key strategies, the key business strategies that helped you kind of start basically from scratch with weddings to getting the 6 figures in about 7 months, do you guys feel like it was more on sales, maybe ads and funnels, branding? Do you feel like it was really pretty balanced between all of it? What would you say were the key strategies for you guys to kind of get to that level?
Yeah, when we joined WLMA, honestly, when we saw like the workload and everything, I was a bit over.
Yeah.
I had a bit of like a...
Yeah, we had a call with Crystal and we were like, this is a lot.
But we took a few months to do everything, like rebranding, website, email series, guides, and everything. So we took really our time
and editing style, which we got tips from some of the students and like Aiden and Tom had given us like a few pointers.
Yeah. By the way, the community, the WLMA is so helpful. Like we made friends, and we still to this day, like people give us advice on how. Like today, we just showed a wedding video to someone that's in the WLMA. And he gave us a few tips and pointers, so I'm really happy.
That's awesome. So a big part was it especially seems like really defining that brand for you guys as well. What were those main changes you feel like that changed in the brand? What that changed within the edits that kind of started attracting you guys ideal clients?
It's just like branding in general, like our the image that we want to project online and the image that we want to keep. Like, to give to clients, that's what really changed. We redid everything from scratch, and we followed guidelines from WLMA, and even the way we approached clients during our Zoom calls, like you provided, and like we took that and we molded it into our own little thing, and then that's what we use all the time now, and it works all the time, basically.
And it's like we don't want to just work with anyone. We want to work with couples that love our work, that trust us, that are excited to work with us. It definitely makes a difference in like for both. We want the couple to be happy and trust us, and we want to, if we like the couple too, we just feel like it's the best. So finding our ideal client too. We get an inquiry from our ideal client. That's always really
so exciting and like giddy and stuff like that. This is the one.
And what would you say that journey looked like when it came to really defining that ideal client for you guys? How did you guys figure out who that was, what they would look like, what maybe the style of editing that would work best for them? What did that journey look like to find that right ideal client to market to?
Because we had worked with different people. There was a couple that we really loved, that we clicked really well with. We did their engagement session. We actually have their wedding in a few weeks. And I think that I kind of based it on personality style. That would be kind of our ideal client. And I find like when we meet couples that
we click with, when you get a good connection with somebody and you start like, just vibing with them, even if it's on Zoom, like you start laughing, making jokes, and just go with the call, and then they get more interested and they inquire more, and it gets into a deeper level. Like that's when you click with the client. So that's when you want to do their weddings,
So really paying attention, like when you're working with those clients, you get a feel of like, all right, I'm clicking with this people. There's something that's like resonating and kind of connecting between the two of us here. And then really diving into defining, okay, when they jump on our website, what is it that we can always speak and talk to this particular type of person so we can keep getting more of that? Was that kind of what that looked like?
Even recently, we had a call with a client that said that they went on our website and they loved how we described our work and how we work and stuff. They were like, about us, and they were like, the way you described it just like sold it. So that helps a lot too. The copy and everything that we redid on the website, it really helped as well.
That's awesome. Now, we talked a little bit now. You guys are struggling to get leads at first. We've been running a lot of Facebook ads and stuff to kind of get that on track. Now, this is a question that people always have as well. When it comes to those wedding consultations, what particularly do you guys feel that it was that changed, that started converting much more of your wedding consultations to connect with them, help them see that you guys are the right fit? Do you feel like it had to do with maybe tonality? Do you feel like it had to maybe do with a specific process you guys took them through? What would you guys say?
I would say it's how we structure our calls. So we have a basic structure where we introduce ourselves. We say right off the bat how the call is going to go step by step, and we also ask them, like what's their story and how they met to, to break the ice. So
they always kind of laugh hard, and then
surprise, and that breaks the ice right away, and that's a good way of getting into a call.
And I find it gives us it's kind of a little way for us to get to know them. Like just the way that they describe their story and stuff, we get a little more.
Yeah. So often like getting to know their story, that breaks the ice, and kind of, I guess, like, this is kind of my experience when I came into like learning like sales, especially for wedding photography, learning that there is just kind of like a system to each process and a reason why to lead them like, to those different things. You know what I mean? Where first you kind of, like you said, breaking the ice with them. Second, kind of like being able to diagnose like what it truly is that they want. And not only is that like that helping them, you know, you guys figure out like what they want, but also building clarity to them as well. Once you guys like felt like you guys started doing that discovery phase, when it came to the sales and everything as well, did you guys feel there was a big difference once it finally got to showing the work, showing the videos, showing the album? They're able to connect much better with that as well.
Because when we had started we didn't have like a full album, because we were doing like COVID weddings, and like some weddings didn't have because we didn't have, I guess, like a full wedding gallery that we wanted to show that would really portray like the full day for the clients. We hadn't started with the album viewing, so we had just done calls without the album viewing. And I don't even know if we have done that. I guess like it was just going well the way that we were doing it, so we continued that way. So we haven't done the album viewing. Often they've seen our work either on Instagram or on our website.
And we always ask them, like, one of our processes is we ask them, what are your likes and dislikes in terms of photography? Do you like posing? Do you like something candid? Like what colors do you like? What vibe do you go for? And then they describe the stuff, and they're like, by the way, I've seen your work on your Instagram, and this checks all the boxes. So I'm like, perfect. And you know.
Yeah. So it kind of almost started a little bit opposite, where since you guys were working during COVID to kind of get those albums, that whole entire wedding, where they're able to see your work, maybe it was through your Instagram, through like the marketing funnel, whatever you guys were taking them through. And then through discovery, when you guys figured out their likes and dislikes on what they truly want, they got to pinpoint what they remembered from the work that they already saw from you guys as well. Now, also getting a feel of this, and I think this is something that's going to be, you know, useful, especially even for current students in the WLMA, and maybe even ones who are trying to figure out and build their own marketing funnels on their own. After you guys have gotten leads, let's say through Facebook ads, or maybe they were able to enter a funnel through other sources as well, what do you guys feel like, particularly for you, have been the best practices in that marketing funnel? Whether if it's through emails or social media, to really start building trust with those leads. What are some of the best practices you guys have?
I would say on social media.
She really engages with people on social media, and she has like big conversations with even clients that we don't book. She still talks to them and stuff. So you know that sometimes we don't book that specific client, but because we keep some engagement with them, and she does, especially, we've had referrals and we book other weddings.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so even after their wedding, with everything that's happening on social media, so even those past clients remember you guys, kind of reposting their work, building that close relationship with them, whether if it's via virtual or even maybe in person kind of thing, has really been big for adding to the word of mouth that you guys have as well.
100%.
That's awesome. Now, to get a feel of this as well, I know customer experience and the artistic process has been a very unique aspect in your business as well. What would you guys say are things that have worked for you in that artistic process, or maybe that customer experience? Maybe that is different, and how has that also impacted your business as well?
I guess nurturing the clients. I mean, the clients that we book are clients that people that I genuinely like. Some almost even become friends, really. We actually had a wedding of a couple that was here in Montreal, but they live in Toronto, and they had us stay over when we visited Toronto.
That's cool.
They were like friends. and we've done that with a few of our couples, but so I just like engage a lot and
close contact, and just engage and just keep in touch with past clients and current clients, and
And it's genuinely because we like them, you know, like as people, they could be our friends. That's who we want to work with people that we like.
It's not extra like effort or anything. It's just something that we like to do because that's how we are.
Yeah, 100%. And so it seems like relationship marketing, relationship branding is not something that has just worked, but something that's just super authentic to you guys' personalities and everything, especially being able to find those people who want that as well, desire that as well. For people who are interested, and maybe that's kind of part of their personality as well, where they're looking for those types of clients, what were some tips you guys would give to someone who wants to build deeper relationships with, you know, their clients, wants to be able to communicate to potential clients? What are some tips that you could give to photographers or filmmakers interested in kind of doing that relationship marketing as well?
Just be real, be authentic, and be like, you know, be warm. Don't be too fake. Like, don't try to oversell yourself. Like, just be genuine.
Finding the right clients, like finding people that you would
become friends with, basically.
Become friends with.
Yeah. So this is a really important question I want to ask because, you know, you guys know as well that it's not even just about the strategies when it comes to building a business. You can have the best strategies in the world, but that still doesn't really success. So what would you say are some of the biggest obstacles you guys had to overcome, let's say this past year, you know, growing your business, and how did you guys overcome those as well?
Finding our main style and our main image that we want to portray online, basically that was our challenge this year, and I think we found it.
And I would say also learning to value our time and our work and
not be negotiating.
Not negotiating and, you know, decreasing our value really, because sometimes we were working less than minimum wage, and just learning to, you know, be confident in our work and our prices, and understanding that we're not for everyone's budget, and that's fine. But, you know, this is our business for both of us. It's our
bread and butter.
Yeah, exactly. So that was another obstacle, I would say.
One thing that I would say is also, once we stopped negotiating and we actually increased our prices, like we stopped getting negotiators. So
Isn't that an interesting thing?
You can be like kind of like a bit lower or in the middle, and you'll get those people that try to negotiate you and bring the price down. But once you cross that threshold and you're comfortable with, because we were like super stressed about like going up with our prices. But we did, and since then,
I think I wrote it in the WLMA, or I asked one of the students. I said, we keep getting negotiated, and I don't know, like our other friend photographers don't get negotiated. Like, you should increase your prices. And I said, what? That doesn't make sense to me. I feel like I'll be more negotiated. And he said, no, because once you pass a certain, you know, I guess like clientele, it's either the clients know that, okay, you're out of their budget, or you're within their budget and they respect your work and value. And
yeah, that's such a powerful thing as well. And not only like when you start coming with that authority, you know, that this you are valued, like this is your brand, this is what you guys are about, and you guys are confident in that. Like people see that as well, and it's really interesting where it's like there's a certain price point, kind of mid lower tier, where you have a lot of price shopping, you have a lot of negotiating, and even people who that you work with in that price point, it's like they want more. But then, 100%. But when you like jump, and it's different for different cities, different states, demographics and everything. But when you jump a certain area, it's either, and especially you get really good at your wedding consultations, either it's a clear yes or a clear no, which is so much better to work with as well. And curious as well, you guys are in what part of Canada as well? Montreal. For you guys, like what number do you feel like is when you hit that, where you really started kind of getting a lot of those less of those price shoppers and negotiators, and you started really attracting those people who really value like what you're about? What was that number in like Montreal for you guys?
So let's say photography, for like our,
because we structure into three
we have like packages. 3 different packages. So like a 10-hour package, which is the most popular one, is 3,000. Whereas last year we were charging 1,500.
Yeah, so we doubled.
Yeah. That's awesome. Now, going back to what Peter was kind of mentioning before, where it was a big obstacle to, figure out what that style was for you guys. Why do you guys feel like that was a struggle? And how did you guys kind of find that look? Figure out like this is what resonated with you. How would you describe that look? Kind of dive into that world and that journey with me a bit.
We had trouble having a consistent like feed on our Instagram. Like when you look at a certain profile and you see all like, even though it's different scenarios and different times of the day, it always looks the same, and it's so nice to look at. And we're like, how can we get that look? And then we basically worked our edits until we found a way to do it.
We found our style.
We found our style.
We know that there's 3 main groups. We knew that light and air
is not for us.
No, he really doesn't like the beauty. I do, but
I call it the dark and gloomy, the sadness.
I like. We both agreed that we liked warmth and I guess true to color. I just thought, for my own wedding photos, I guess I like true to color. And I guess it has a bit of a mix of maybe, like I tend to leave, when I do my edits, it's like true to color, maybe a bit more dark and moody. Him, it'll be like true to color, maybe a bit more light in there.
Yeah, so we have a nice balance.
Yeah.
And who's the one who often, I guess, edits the photos as well?
Videos a lot, so now I photos, but like basically when gallery, he goes over it, so it's like we got 2 set of eyes on all our galleries.
I do like maybe in there, maybe it's gonna be too much on like on the green side or the magenta side, so I'll just like tweak a few photos, but most of the time she gets like 90% right, 95% right. I trust her.
Finding that style is a struggle, because I remember when it came with me. I'm talking about like maybe like 10 years ago with this too. I used to this is like before I like started like finding presets and stuff too. I used to edit, and this is when I realized I wasn't the best with like colors. I used to edit the photos on my own, and this is like the very beginning of my wedding business when I was maybe charging just like 1,000 for a wedding and stuff. And I remember I like cringe looking back at it now, where like almost every photo looked different. It was so bad as far as what that looked like. Then I kind of started realizing more about like presets, realizing like for me, just editing just wasn't my strength. And so I started kind of diving into like Visco, all that stuff. It seemed just a little bit too much kind of for what I really wanted, even though I dabbled into it. And I kind of felt how the journey kind of have found out my style is, one, I love film. I just love the look of film, like true film.
Yeah.
And that's when I ended up finding like Maston Labs, where I could use Maston Labs, get that true film look. I kind of like more darker look as well, where there's heavy shadows, heavy contrast and everything. And that's kind of what it looked like for me. And I remember once I finally, a couple years in, once I finally kind of started finding that style, I like deleted everything off my Instagram, re-updated all of that. I wish in the Instagram they had like just a delete everything button, because sometimes when you're like years in, you're going, all right, got 300 photos that I just got to go through and delete one by one. How would you guys describe your guys' brand as well? If you had a client who came to you and be like, all right, so what is your guys' brand about? And you had to explain that to them. Maybe the way you guys work, maybe of the feel, the colors, all that type of stuff, or maybe even the way that you guys work with them. What would be kind of this, how you would explain that to them so they could see if they're the best for you?
I mean, it's not...
it comes out naturally.
It comes out naturally, exactly. I just get hyped, and I hype them, like, oh, you're hyping us up like we're models and stuff, so... hype up people during shoots. I like to offer like an unforgettable experience that they'll talk about later on, and for the next like few months, maybe when they get their photos.
We often like to shoot together too. Like, I mean, busy, but like we definitely don't need to be 2 people at engagement sessions, for example. But we like to go the 2 of us because we like to we just like to meet the couple and give them like the full experience of, basically, because their wedding day most of the time will be 2 of us as well. And and then just like in terms of edits, we just like to keep it like true to color, but like warm. We like that. Yeah.
We often get comments like, because they come into a session and they say like, oh, we're not good at posing, we're stressed out, we feel like a bit anxious, and by the end of it, they're like, it was laid back and like it was so stress free. Like for us, it's when we go shoot a couple, it's not work. It's just like a good time. So like,
yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. Do you guys feel like, especially when someone experiences an engagement session with you as well, that it's pretty much like over? It's like they just feel like connected to you guys and like
when
we're
they start talking
working
about
with you.
like, packages and wedding prices, like during the engagement, you're like, yeah, locked in, let's go.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's a really positive thing being able to work as like a really powerful couple team as well. And it was like that for Crystal and I also, where it's during the consultations, during the engagement session, sometimes Crystal would come to those as well, where they were just vibing, and if it was just me, they're vibing. We had a great relationship there. Then they would often get like a second photographer, where Crystal would come along, and it was always the story where like the bridesmaids, even sometimes the bride who wasn't like sure, this is their first time meeting Crystal, they weren't sure of her yet at first, but like by the end of the wedding, like they absolutely loved her. Oftentimes she was like the savior of the day with like any kind of, and she saw things as, I think just because like she's a woman too, and like was be able to see things that I wouldn't be able to recognize at first. She was able to catch these certain things and like save the day.
A different eye, I would say.
Yeah.
We know more like hair, like something that he thinks looks nice.
Yeah.
Be like, no, girls don't like that.
Yeah.
100%. Now I want to get a feel of this, and this is a question I always ask people on the podcast, because I feel like for people who feel like they're stuck in their business, if they can know what you guys would do with this question, it can give them a great philosophy on what they can do themselves. And so let's say you guys, for some reason, had to leave Canada. For some reason, let's say you have to move to a certain state in the US. No one knows about you, no fan base, but you guys do have the current knowledge that you have now. What's maybe 2, 3, or 4 steps on how you guys would repeat the same results that you got today? Get to that 6-figure level, maybe in 6 to 7 months. What would you guys do with the knowledge you have now?
Facebook ads, and for us, actually, Instagram ads too. We are going to be in Europe next year. We did want to maybe book a few sessions.
Nice.
So we put an ad. We did like really not much. We put like $30, but I actually got an inquiry for a maternity session in Ireland. So I think that's what I would do.
That's awesome.
That and basically the whole. I mean, now we have photos. So last year we needed to build our portfolio a little more. Now we have like a lot more content.
But if we had to start from scratch, then like if we lost all our photos and we lost all our like websites and stuff, I would just like I would start with ads and free engagement shoots and just start connect with a few people and then
maybe vendors
help get referred by vendors. So when we get contacted by vendors, we also try to engage as much as possible and try
with
to
the vendors
keep good contact. Yeah, basically just to reach out and just start from scratch with the ads. Ads help a lot. You just need to know how to structure them and do them. So step 1 would be to rewatch the course.
And that's one of the things I have such a passion when it comes to ads as well, because one, that's how we're able to grow like our wedding photography business and everything. But 2, like kind of like what you guys were saying, it's pretty instant. Once you know what you're doing, it's pretty instantaneous. Like you're able to run an ad in Europe and immediately get attention for not that much cost, as long as the work, the copy, the headlines, and the offer is all in play. And it's like if you know you're going to be in a new area, it's like, well, I can run an ad, a couple months before we go, start building that fan base there. And that's kind of the trio of lead generation that I've seen to be like the most important. Like number 1, sponsored advertising and marketing funnels, because you can grow the quickest and you can start nurturing that attention right away. And it's something you can always continue doing. Second one is like venue referral, vendor referrals, specifically venue referrals. And it's, I was saying this to Hunter, it's sometimes I kind of like to think of it as like investing in like stocks, because it's like you're finding this other company that's kind of working its way up there and making moves, whether if they're like a startup or they've been in the business for a long time, and you can ride that wave with them. You know what I mean? And then but that's kind of a long-term strategy, because that takes time to build, unless you can quickly find that right one. And then SEO is like the third one. That's a little bit of a long-term strategy as well, where you do things like the backlinks, you do things like blogging, YouTube, and you're able to build up that SEO. It's a lot more of a long-term thing, and that's why we often recommend like ads first. But once you have that trio, it's like boom, you have three different your eggs in three different baskets that you can keep pulling stuff in, and if one ends up dying, you can still kind of rely on these other things and all of that. But that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, if you had to give for photographers who are struggling and are listening right now and trying to figure out like what to do, what would you say is one piece of advice you would give wedding photographers and filmmakers who are struggling with their businesses right now?
If you're struggling, just take the time to step back and think your strategy, your branding. That's what we did, basically. When we started the course, we were nowhere near where we are now, and we stepped back, took the time to do a bunch of stuff that we learned from the course, and just take your time. There's no rush. Right? So just take the time to do stuff properly, and you'll get where you want to be eventually.
Love that. And so really kind of slowing things down, I guess, so you can know what those issues are in the business in the first place, take a step back and really know what are those first steps you can take.
Taking the time to do things properly is super important. If we rushed through the course, we wouldn't have
absolutely love that.
Skipped a bunch of chapters, we wouldn't have learned a bunch of stuff. So it's good to take the time to take the time. I guess.
And where can we find you guys
as well? We have our website, brightsitevisuals.com. Everywhere, basically, it's Brightsight Visuals.
Yeah, only those. TikTok, but
TikTok we just started. Yeah. Maybe YouTube.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll add you guys' website in the description of if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify. I'll add where you can find them in the description as well. But thank you guys so much. This is awesome. Super valuable as well.